I'm not sure if I will confirm all these praises from Martin. Good evening. I would like to cover 3 topics with you. One about disorientation and why this is interesting. Second, radical innovation. And third, why this might give us some clues for our own dreams to become true. So, but first let's change our perspective. You know that understanding people's circumstances and actions is sometimes a very hard job. So it requires us to sometimes act as a translator for ourselves and the others in order to get different points across. So we need to be good listeners, and fortunately dolphins are very good listeners. But this is not the reason why they are showing here. This is just to say that their orientation works through their ears, while for humans the orientation happens through our eyes. And maybe this is also one of the reasons why in horror films and other cinema films to have tragedy and drama, we use night or fog situations to show you the vulnerabilities of humans. Talking about vulnerabilities, this is a more fascinating happening where there are some people, where there is a complete disorientation, and there are very bad odds for being successful, actually 200 million. So if you are happy to be one of the guys who are born then, of course, females welcomed, the big reference point for us is our mother, obviously. Unfortunately, our orientation is not only driven by our mother, and in a later stage, it comes to a more technology-based orientation, especially for men. So these are watches, compasses, and they have the reason for using them is actually that the complexity gets a little bit more manageable. So, however, navigation systems might be very helpful, and actually I'm coming from Düsseldorf today. It was helpful to have an autobahn or highway to drive here. On the other hand, when we come from an innovation point of view, we don't like really boundaries because they restrict us and they contain us. So what is this meaning? In this case, it's not always a physical boundary. It's very often a mental boundary where you restrict your own thinking. And maybe some of you recall the parable of Plato of the people sitting in the cave, having the sun behind but not turning around and go out of the cave. So another example, all of you are familiar, and which is then maybe a little bit more self-inflicting with us, is fishing with hands instead of nets, because we don't look for new processes or things. But sometimes the obvious needs to be confronted, and so we need to change somehow, and the result of it is actually some kind of more disturbing, because when you're in this mental workload, this red one means actually heavy workload, you cannot think anymore clearly. So you need to look, when you are in a situation where you need to change, that you are going to be calm. So I appreciated the introduction of the laughter yoga, which I wasn't aware of. However, despite the problem or the stress you might face, there's always some kind of reference, even within a heavy storm. And this is, I think, not only for radical innovations, if you want to launch them, or being oriented, you need to look for something which is familiar, and you always will find something. And so this is probably one of the greatest innovations. Today it's probably not called anymore radical, and it's probably coming from Africa, I'm pretty sure about that. So another innovation I'm going to talk, and there you see how long it takes that innovation take to market, but on the other hand also how long they stay with us, and I guess that nobody from you and me included would be here if we wouldn't have the wheel from Africa and the steam machine from, I'm not exactly sure, probably somewhere. So I'm not sure where you are in your personal voyage towards the light, and I hope that you are coming very close. It took me 9 years to take some tough decisions, and I'm looking forward that you can do this also for yourself, to live a more fulfilling life, because there are only two options. One option is that you accept the changes which are coming from the outside, like a natural disaster, where there's little to do about, or maybe you are looking at it in a different way, where you think that you have the power to change something. And maybe in Europe we are not anymore so much in the situation where we have fears about our personal life. But if you look at other countries where activists are fearing for their life, it takes some courage. So I like that you close now your eyes 10 seconds and you are completely unconditional positive about it, where you are going to be in 1 year. So maybe I count only until 5 because there's little time. But one message for you to take away is that seeing with new eyes is a quote from Marcel Proust, and I look forward that maybe all of us, particularly when talking about Africa, we are seeing some stuff with new eyes. Thank you very much.